Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. So in recent videos, I said that the US, the Fed, they are ready to cut interest rates, and we could see interest rates coming down to like 4% by the end of next year, or maybe even lower, maybe 3.75% if we expect 0.25% rate cut every time or every 2 times they meet, right, until end of next year, right? So like in one of my videos, I said this is good news for REITs, but it is potentially bad news for banks. And I said, well, there's still a case to invest in the banks because net interest income isn't their only source of income, and banks can definitely control their funding costs, especially Singapore banks, which have a huge base of depositors, a huge base of savers, especially DBS, right? And all of us know why. So I think the banks are still good investments, right? For income as well as for growth, right? We always focus on dividend yield, right? About the banks have dividend yield like 5 to 6%, right? But very often we miss the bigger picture, and that is that banks pay out only 50% of their earnings. So if we, instead of focusing on dividend yield, like income investors very often do, if we focus on earnings yield, the earnings yield of the banks, local banks, DBS, OCBC and UOB, is between 10 to 12%. 10 to 12%. So that is our returns, total returns, in inverted commas. So it's not just a dividend we are getting, just we are also benefiting from the fact that these investments grow more valuable over time, right? And at 10 to 12% yield, total yield, that's very attractive. It's very attractive for an investment that is rather safe. I'm not saying that it's risk-free, but it is rather safe. Our banks are well capitalized, well run, well regulated by the MAS, right? So I mean, of course, if you want to talk about which bank is the safest, OCBC has the highest CET1 ratio. But DBS, we know who's backing DBS, right? Yeah. So anyway, interest rates are coming down because apparently jobs are being created at a slower rate in the US. It has come down from an average of 215,000 jobs per month to something like 110,000 jobs per month. So the jobs creation has slowed down a lot, while unemployment has gone up, right? Unemployment has gone up to, I think in July it was 4.3%. Right, this shows that there are more people looking for jobs, but there aren't that many jobs to go around, right? So it's a sign that things are softening in the US. So interest rates has to come down. It's already set in stone, right? So now then people say, okay, that one we know. So banks are going to see net interest income impacted. But they have other sources of income which will pick up the slack, and also they are able to control their funding costs to a certain extent, like reducing the interest rate on fixed deposits, reducing the interest rates on high yield savings accounts, that kind of thing. And which bank should I invest in? DBS, OCBC, or UOB? I already said that OCBC and UOB, they are the cheapest in terms of price to book, like 1.2 times or around there, 1.1, 1.2 times price to book, whereas DBS is more expensive in inverted commas, 1.6 times, 1.7 times price to book. Right, putting aside the fact that DBS ROE is higher, 17% compared to UOB, and OCBC is like 12 to 13%, right? Putting that aside, if we try to look at the macroeconomics, right, about how things are changing globally and all that kind of thing, there is a case that people have made for investing, putting more money in OCBC and UOB because of the trade tensions between US and China, Europe and China. There's a lot of global trade tensions, and there is one place that seems to be benefiting from all this, and that is Southeast Asia. Other ASEAN countries are set to benefit. In fact, already we see investments flowing into Malaysia, investments flowing into Thailand, investments flowing into Indonesia because of this trade tension. China doesn't like US, US doesn't like China, that kind of thing. So where do they invest? They invest in friendly territories and Southeast Asian countries are friendly territories. And so if you look at that, right, what happens is that OCBC and UOB have a strong network in Southeast Asia, right? UOB, especially after they bought Citibank's consumer banking businesses in Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, for example. And OCBC has always had a strong presence in Southeast Asia. So they are going to be beneficiaries. So, and plus the fact that they have a very low price to book relative to DBS. Well, I think if I have some money and I'm thinking of which bank to invest in, being a new investor, UOB, OCBC will be somewhere I'll start first, right? Because there is also a bit more margin of safety, right? I mean, with DBS, yes, very attractive dividend yield, ROE is very high. I think the dividend yield is in excess of 6%, right? OCBC and UOB is 5 to 6%, somewhere there, right? So maybe a bit of DBS, but more OCBC and more UOB. So like I say, if I have $50,000, how would I allocate? Maybe I'll put like 10,000 in DBS, 15,000 in OCBC, 15,000 in UOB. Hey, that's only 40K lah. What happened to the other 10K? The other 10K are going to my war chest. Just in case, like I say, things might go south. So when things go test their immediate supports, maybe that's where I'll buy a bit more, right? So that's just me talking to myself. You can allocate your money any way you like. It's your money. Okay, so have a good weekend. Bye bye.